Hello and welcome to Politicus, this event that we have here in our national conference, and we are having this wonderful conversation with different Portuguese Americans, and we have the honor of having Natalia Luis. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey from Portugal to the United States, and what you do here.
Oh my goodness. So my journey, I came to the United States when I was 7 years old, and my mom and dad literally gave up everything and got on a plane and brought my sister and I here. And the only thing that they ever asked for us was to have an education. My dad actually never went to school a day in his life, and so my mother taught him to read and write as an adult. And so even though they were doing okay back in the 70s, they were very worried that we weren't going to get the education that my dad always had wanted to have. And so in '79, we immigrated to Kensington, Maryland, and I've lived here since then. Shortly after coming here, my mom and dad created a company in 1985 called M. Lewis Construction, and they built it up from ground zero. It was literally a wheelbarrow and a pickup truck.
Right.
And today, it's a company that creates an impact in our small universe in the state of Maryland, which is a wonderful state to live in, to work in. And my sister and I have since 2008, purchased a company and run it since then.
And your involvement in the Portuguese American community, obviously coming from Portugal at a young age, you're more American probably than Portuguese. I'm sure that both cultures, kind of live together. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us, first of all, how do you keep up the Portuguese part of the Portuguese American within your family and your traditions? And second of all, your involvement in the Portuguese American community throughout the East Coast.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm very proud to be Portuguese. It is my key core identifying.
That's who you are, huh?
It's who I am.
Yeah, part of our soul.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right. It is
yeah.
part of our soul. And so, as I was growing up, I went to Portuguese school with my sister, as the cartoons on Saturday morning were on, so we did not want to go, and yet we went, and
You were
thank
one of those
God.
mistreated children as well.
Yes, very mistreated child. I was forced to
cartoon
learn
world.
Portuguese. I can tell you, thank goodness that my parents made that happen and persevered with that, because today I send my own children to Portuguese school every Saturday morning. I'm deeply grateful for the volunteers and the teachers that are there taking their weekend away from themselves in order to teach our children in the hope of teaching them in 4 hours the language, the history, and understanding the pride behind it. I go to Portugal very often. In fact, I'm leaving on Monday for Portugal. My sister has taken several retreats to Portugal, including one 3 years ago. At the end of this month, Natalia and I will be host members in Portugal for CEO organization, where we'll have 60 members of Chief Executives organization in Portugal, in Lisbon, and in Porto. My kids identify as Portuguese, and my mom and dad continue to farm their land in their little village that we're from in Machtahanha. It's lovely.
Your involvement also in the Portuguese American community, your opinion of PALCUS. PALCUS is an organization, as you know, a national organization, has been around for a few years, has had its up and downs like all of the organizations. Your perspective on PALCUS, and what is your opinion on having an organization that represents Portuguese Americans at a national level, where we have, as you know very well, organizations that represent us at a different local level, our local clubs and organizations, but what is your opinion of a national organization, and if it's needed, and how you feel about it?
Not only is it needed, it's a priority conduit. We have 1.4 million people in the United States of America that are of Portuguese descent. We have a growing economy in Portugal. We have a growing community, both economically and socially, within the United States of America. To have an organization like PALCUS that is able to create a conversation between our home country, our new country, and our community, it's imperative. I just spoke to Angela actually and let her know of my endeavor to take a more proactive role within the organization, because what you're doing is extraordinarily important. And to have a vehicle where we can all come together and speak about the issues and contemplate what is best and how to go about that, well, it's an imperative, impactful thing to do.
And an organization like this, as far as the national conference, what is your opinion of it, and some of the outcomes that you'd like to see from a conference, and should it be something that we do, that PALCUS does, on a regular basis?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that this is a perfect location for PALCUS to do it. Clearly, many of the civic leaders are already here, the political leaders are already here, and so it is a wonderful location to have it. I can tell you that when I walked in today, it took my breath away. Very, very impressive agenda, incredibly impressive panelists. I'm here on a Saturday all day, happy to be here with many things happening in my personal life today specifically, and I still chose to come. I'm not only impressed, I'm proud. 27-year organization that has had ebbs and flows, and I see this vitality in the organization that's really, really exciting. So many of us want to be part of the work, genuinely, authentically part of the work to carry us forward for that next generation. I want to make sure that this organization is here for my kids, and I really like what I'm seeing in terms of this emphasis to bring our community together and to protect it and to represent well,
right,
to be a really responsible diaspora. I also feel a recommitment from our countrymen, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being such a successful Portuguese American with a deep Portuguese soul.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.